Hey, hey, hey. Welcome to my channel. My name is Emmy from Emmy Evolving. If this is your first time joining, hello. If this is not your first time, thank you so much for coming back. Please do subscribe to my channel. Turn on that notification bell so you can join me whenever I go live. Right now, we're going to do a ClairTarot reading for Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Also for your cross watchers, a lot of intense energy is wafting around as usual. And what's going on is, man, that air is totally burning down what seems to be a Tower card moment. It seems as though there was a Tower card that was being placed on the table. And I don't know. I don't think Gemini is willing to accept that. I don't think so. So let's just get you guys a few cards really quick. All right. This is kind of just to give you an update on what your energy is looking like right now. So according to the kitties, you have King of Spades. This is about self-sufficiency. With Gemini being a twin energy, you know, you guys are the twins. What ends up happening is you almost feel as though you're bipolar. You're not bipolar. I'm saying you feel as though you're bipolar because one half of you wants to go one way and the other half wants to go the other way. And it's like, what? What? And then you have this tendency to then begin doubting yourself because which one do you listen to? You have two completely different voices. Which one do you listen to? Well, you have to become self-sufficient, okay? You have to begin merging those two halves and really listening to what is the best path. One half of you wants to avoid whatever this lesson is because it's a difficult one. The other half is like, we got this. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. And is maybe a little bit too foolhardy, you know, a little too quick to rush in. So just make sure that you know exactly which one you're listening to and why, okay? Your next card is Two of Clubs, and this is about being a trailblazer. Oops. A trailblazer, facing your fear. So not only are you going to cut down the trees, you're going to take over the whole mountain. You got nothing to be scared of. You really, really don't. Now, that tower moment, remember how I said it's burning down, right? Here we go. Richness in the decay. What ends up happening, you think parts of you are rotting, because there are parts that are rotting and there are parts that through that rot are actually going to be what sustains you, okay? So fungus feeds off of the rot, and fungus can be something ridiculously nutritious, but you have to just know which parts are toxic and which parts aren't. You're beginning to lose parts of yourself. Okay, the toxic parts are the parts you're not going to go ahead and consume again. You're not going to allow that back in. You have to recognize exactly which part your higher self is trying to tell you to leave alone, to let it finish rotting and just let it die off. Now, let's get you guys these cards. So again, this is for Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Also for your cross watchers. Let's see, and this is a general reading. I don't know why all of that has to be said, but apparently, okay, has to be said. All right. All right. So what we've got is a hangman. Okay, you have been dangling there for some time now, not knowing how to move forward from your life's events. This is probably something that has been continuing for a good amount of time, and you're left feeling as though you're just dangling there in midair, and you don't really have anything to hold on to help steady yourself. You're just dangling, swinging, kind of at the mercy of the way the wind blows. That would cause you to kind of coil up onto yourself. You're trying to make sure the eggs represent the things that are most important to you stay safe. But in doing that, you're kind of pinning down your magic as well. So if you're going to keep walls up, then it might not serve you in the long run. Okay. It's definitely a very common coping mechanism, but it might not serve you in the long run. It might actually compound your struggles. Much of your growth that you're going through right now is hidden. It's very much hidden. Your visible parts, you kind of just went quiet. I don't know if you haven't been as funny and charming as Geminis tend to be, as talkative as Geminis tend to be. It's almost as though you've kind of pulled into yourself a little bit, and that's okay. You're not stagnating. You're still growing. It's just not visible. Okay. It's not visible to most people, and that's fine. They don't have to be all up in your business anyways. I know one thing about Geminis, they like their privacy. As social as they seem, they're actually very, very private. Okay. And they just let you think that you know everything about them, when in reality, you don't know much. You really don't know much. So you also have 3 of Cups. There's another person's journey is intertwined with yours, and it's really causing you to have a hard time to discern which part is yours, which part is theirs, how much are you supposed to help, where have you already crossed the boundary line. And right now you need to figure out which parts are yours. Okay, you have to begin sifting through that wreckage and see what parts are you responsible for clearing away. You don't know how to deal with a burning, rotting tower. After it gets to a certain point, it's just uninhabitable, right? You kind of just leave it. Leave it as it is, and allow yourself to move forward. And this doesn't mean abandoning the situation completely or an individual. This means recognizing when you've done what you can and giving yourself permission to not feel responsible for any given outcome. Because really, we can only control so much within our journey, and we definitely cannot control someone else's journey. Okay. And if there's multiple people in a circumstance, you don't get a say in someone else's part of that circumstance, only in your part. Okay. Yours alone. So you have 4 of Swords, and it looks like your intuition is starting to open up, and you have a lot of thoughts about how you're like the lamb. You know how lambs are seen, kind of like helpless, but in actuality, your third eye is opening up. This all goes back to that feeling of the tower moment being used to really open your eyes to what it is you're co-creating. And it's not necessarily that you're co-creating drama, or you're co-creating a struggle, or you're co-creating something negative at all. What is probably going on is that you are co-creating a circumstance that's going to help yourself and everyone involved to grow exponentially. And Gemini is not necessarily seen as a very, spiritual sign. I think in this period, like the last half of July, that's definitely going to change. I think that's definitely going to change. The way people perceive you, it seems like it's preparing to shift. You haven't allowed this spiritual side of you to be seen. And I think with the burning of the Tower card, that burning of the tower itself, people are going to recognize you for what you are. And that's a powerhouse. Seriously, it's a powerhouse. Gemini keeps things hidden so deep, so well hidden, that most people don't know the gravity of what is going on with my hair? Oh my God. Can you just chill out? Okay. It's going to have to just be funky. But yeah, most people don't know that. Gemini just seems to be like a fun sign to be around, because they are. They really, really are. But it's almost like a deflection. A lot of really deep, deep introspection is going on, and you just deflect it with your charm and your humor, and everyone just kind of takes it at face value. I know too many Geminis to accept that. They're all very, not, I wouldn't say, secretive is not the right word. It's more selective of who they allow to know them in what way. I recognize that. They're very, very selective. You have to make sure that you give yourself permission to be selective, because there's nothing wrong with that. Not everyone should know everything about you. Not everyone should have access to you without knowing what their intentions are. All right. Let's see. All right, Gemini. You got the sorry, 10 of coins. 10 of coins in reverse, bad odds, possible loss, dissipation. So again, that Tower moment is on the table, but how does it affect you? Are you going to allow that Tower moment to be the end all be all? Are you just going to burn it down? You're going to be like, you know what? I'm going to use you as fuel. I'm going to use you as fuel, and you can go ahead and burn, but you're not going to affect me in that way. That's a hard thing to do, but it's not impossible. It's hard, but it's not impossible. You also have the Page of Coins in reverse, and this is about failure to recognize obvious facts. Dissipation of ideas, rebelliousness. So there's a potentiality that the Tower moment will come if you choose to continue to avoid the growth. Okay, some of us don't realize the ways in which we're avoiding. It could be something very, very subtle, or it could be something very, very obvious, but you don't really know what until you stop trying to hide from yourself. It's like the twins, the two halves of you are playing hide and seek with each other, or like peekaboo. You have to have both parts, both twins facing each other, looking at each other eye to eye. Yeah, that's right, Jessica. She says that was an important lesson I learned over many years about selectivity. It's hard because you get pressured into being something that you're not. If you're not, just super duper social, you're made to feel as though, oh, you're super stuck up, and like, no, I'm just selective. I'm not stuck up. I don't think I'm better than anyone. I'm just selective. So you got the Ace of Staves. This is about creation, start of an undertaking, beginning of a meaningful experience. So there you go, Gemini. You can have this Tower moment be something where the whole village is starting to burn down and everyone is freaking out. Or it could be the tower that's kept you confined to a very limited state of being is being burned down, and you're there outside of the tower dancing around naked, just enjoying yourself, naked in your truth. It really depends on how you want to see this. Are you going to allow this to fortify you, or are you going to allow it to really, really accelerate your self-destruction? So your next card is Four of Cups in reverse. This is about new possibilities, new relationships, new approaches to old problems, new knowledge. So for some of us, this might have to do with ancestral or familial karma, karmic cycles that are being triggered, the type of connections we have with parents and siblings, relatives. Are they going to start with the same cycle of this is how you're supposed to act, and then I'm going to act this way, and then there's going to be conflict and everyone's going to be separated? Or are you going to be the one to recognize when a cycle is starting? And so you have to be the one to say, okay, guys, we are not doing this cycle again this time. We are going to grow beyond this cycle. We're going to instill a new type of cycle. This new type of cycle will allow for communication. It will allow for us to bond rather than further separate. And this is a very difficult thing to do as well, because again, you can't control anyone. But Gemini, you've been given the gift of air for a reason. Okay? The gift of air deals with breath. And what did God do to create us? God breathed us into being. So Gemini, this tells me that you can breathe a new circumstance into being. You can use that Tower card to destroy the existing structure, familial, relationship, whatever it is, to destroy that old structure so you can erect a new one that is more focused on the actual needs for right now versus what we've been doing that doesn't address the needs of right now. Gemini, this is a very, very powerful, powerful next couple weeks for you. Please make sure you understand you're not responsible for everyone. You really are only ever responsible for yourself. And this is not to give you permission to, this is not for you to give yourself permission to just abandon people. You know, this is about recognizing, does someone need help? Or am I enabling something? Am I just trying to force someone into agreement with what I perceive to be the best thing? Or is this really what's the best thing for everyone involved? You know, you have to have this internal dialogue with yourself. It's not a monologue, it's a dialogue. Begin conversing between self and soul to get the answers that you need. So let's see. Let's do this deck. I feel like more and more, for some of you, whoever this is resonating with, the tower moment is not so much a tower moment as it is a nice bonfire to celebrate the birthing of the new you. And if you're not at a bonfire type moment, that's okay too. That's okay. Tower cards are endings, and right after an ending is a new beginning. In order to have a new beginning, you first need to have an ending. Let's see. So you have patience. No matter what the situation or delay is, your desire will come when it is meant to. Be patient with the process. I know when things hurt at the level that they're hurting, we want to just rush it, get it over with, get it over with. Either way, just I want it to be done with. I found when it comes to spirituality, to our growth, it's not, it was never really about being at point A and then suddenly being at point B. The focus of spirituality, the meat of it, is what happens as you traverse the span between point A and B. So be very, very present, okay? Be present. That's, I know a lot of us are really struggling through a lot of things. Beyond Gemini, just in general, with Saturn still in retrograde, and that's a karmic Lord of Karma, a lot of old shit is coming up, okay? It's going to come to a head very soon with Mercury in retrograde too. It's just a lot of stuff, you guys, a lot of stuff. Hang in there. Don't rush through it, okay? Don't rush. That's how you end up getting hurt unnecessarily. Now, you also have your calling. Your life's purpose is like an awakening to put your gifts and talents to good use and enjoy the journey of life. So this is part of your calling. What you're going through right now is helping to prepare you for whatever your life's calling is. Okay? So you can't exactly just rush through college, right? You have to take all the courses that you're supposed to take in order to qualify for higher level education or classes, whatever classes come next. So it's the same thing. You're taking this learning in steps. It's steps. Look up, look forward, welcome new developments for positive change. Notice how your eyes are closed. Notice how over your eyes are butterfly wings. It's almost as though this is a visual representation of how your third eye is being modified to see in a different way. Okay, this is, where's the card? Where is it? Ooh, a different card came up too. Okay, so this is just like what I was saying, you know, your third eye is being worked on, okay? You are going through some very, very significant spiritual changes, recodements. Now, this card accidentally got pulled out. Mother of Cups, don't block your goodness from coming in. Do not block things that are going to benefit you. Now, you can go ahead and block things like karma, unnecessary karma. Karma is a miasmic distortion within your morphogenetic field. What miasms are frozen light code. Those are snapshots of moments where free will was not responsibly used. Well, if there's going to be a circumstance that's going to lead to a tower moment, you can either, again, continue with the karmic cycles, what you're used to doing, the way you're used to reacting, the types of dynamics that you have with other people, allowing those to be perpetuated, or you can block the miasms from entering your cup. No, I'm not going to participate in that. I won't tell you what to do, but I'm not going to play along either. We can either talk about it and find a different solution, shift the dynamic to one that's more mutually beneficial, or you can do this on your own. Call me later when you're done. Okay, that's a very real conversation you need to have with yourself if you're the one that always chooses to replay old dynamics, perpetuate the old type of habits. Okay, it might be someone else, but it also might be you. So just be very honest with yourself. Okay. Let me get you guys more cards. Let's see. Yep. All right. Card number 21, clean it up. Is it your mess to clean up? First, you have to identify. Is it your mess to clean up? Do you need to help clean up? Are you being asked to help clean up someone else's mess? These are answers you have to find within yourself, okay? But it needs to be cleaned up. Is it maybe someone else's mess and they just kind of need guidance on how to clean it up, the most efficient way to clean? Who knows? A leg up. You're definitely not a baby anymore, okay? For those of you that resonate with being ignored and kind of downplayed because everyone's used to seeing you as like a little one and no one has to really listen to you, you're not a baby anymore. You're full grown. You have words to contribute to the growth of the group. Start speaking. Gemini, you are air. It takes air to breathe. It takes air to speak. Start using that, okay? Mending. It's time you begin mending relationships. The bonds that you have with other people that have become tattered over the years, because as you've grown in your understanding of you've begun to recognize how certain individuals have kind of been trying to confine you to a small role, to a small part. there's been a breakdown. You know, Gemini doesn't really tend to be too confrontational. They tend to be more, they tend to avoid things a little bit more. I've recognized, and I don't know if this is something they write about in astrology books when they're telling you how your sign is supposed to act. But what I've recognized from knowing so many Geminis is you guys have a tendency to not want to confront. You just get real quiet. And the more quiet you are, the more hurt you probably are. And if you don't say anything, people won't know. They're used to you being accommodating. They're used to you being funny, used to leaning on you. And you can't be mad if you have no one to lean on, because everyone is used to you making it seem as though you don't have anyone to lean on. So you have to begin speaking up, okay? You have to begin reaching out and mending the connections that need to be mended, okay? Wow. You're stuck in the middle. It even says nope. There are two sides, and that's you stuck in the middle, sending you back and forth to send messages before a war is started. No, not for you. That is not your job. And even the fortune cookie says, nope. So keep that in mind, okay? Keep that in mind. You can be a sanctuary for people, but you don't have to allow them to leave caca all over your sanctuary floor, okay? That's not beneficial for anyone at all. So let's get you guys a message from your higher self, okay? Gemini, are you guys doing okay? I feel such an overwhelming emotion. Oh, such an overwhelming emotion. Okay, one more shuffle. So you guys got card number 19. Sacred union. Only the oneness of love and the lover is eternal. Surrender your heart into this union, for all else in this world is momentary. Stupefied with bliss, I become without thought. There is no grief in that loss. I gladly surrender my intelligence in favor of this mindlessness. It is ecstasy, rapture. The sweetness of the union so sacred overwhelms my senses. The lover and the beloved are my world. Nothing else exists except this love, this unity of divine masculine and feminine in the fresh new universe that shall be born from their sacred conjoining. It happens even now between my body and my spirit, and in yours, and in his over there, and that woman passing by. All creation in sacred rapturous embrace. So shocking and wild, this frenzy of loving delight without limits. Let us be swept away in the passionate loving that renders duality into one and tips the mind into empty ecstasy. You lucky, lucky angel, you are to be blessed with sacred union. This union is of the lover and the beloved, the masculine and the feminine. That which appears to be opposite will no longer appear to be so. There's a coming together that's destined and divine. You are to be swept up in a wave of such love. This oracle comes to you as a portent, a sign of that which is to come, and also as a confirmation of your spiritual journey thus far. You have been working to integrate masculine and feminine energies within. Perhaps you've not used those words, but you have been attempting to find the balance between living a surrendered life and leading from the heart, and then knowing when to take the initiative to set something in motion, when to put your body, mind, and soul into getting your shoulder behind something to push. You've been working hard to surrender attachment to plans and how you think things should go. Instead, you have intended to show it up for what it is, to seek out the genius of life through unconditional acceptance instead of judging and fearing, resisting what is as though it were a big mistake, perhaps caused by ignorance within. No, you do not seek to hide from love anymore. You've been learning step by step how to embrace it and allow it to embrace you. What a journey you are taking, beautiful, lucky angel. So, your confirmation is thus: you are growing, you are evolving, you are making genuine shifts in consciousness that are allowing you to change the way you are in the world, to become freer, more loving, wilder, more divine. 1 second, guys. So, I think the sacred union is within you. I think it's the reunification of your two halves. I definitely feel as though it's time for you to recognize that you've been living in a duality, much more so than other people because of the fact that you come from the twins. And that's okay. But you also have to remember within that duality, you are whole. You're not halved. You are whole. They are just different faces of you. And it's okay for people to see both. As a matter of fact, for some, the healthiest thing might be to see both. All right? So, Gemini, be easy with yourself. Be gentle. Please be gentle. You suffer through so much so silently, and people just don't know how much you're going through. They really don't. It's a good time for you to allow the light that comes from the tower burning to shine a light on you so people can see the truth of who you are, the truth of what you're going through. And for some of us, it might mean that you have to begin speaking up in a family, in a relationship, at work, whatever it is. I think it's time for you to speak up. If there are things that are going on that have been difficult for you to stomach to now, you haven't said anything just for the sake of keeping peace. When you avoid war with someone else, you initiate war within yourself. No more war. Speaking up does not mean you are accepting their invitation to war. Sometimes speaking up is what avoids that external war. And in the avoiding of the external war in that manner, you also avoid the internal. Okay, Gemini? So I hope you guys, I really hope whatever's going on is not as heavy as it feels on my heart, because it feels very heavy, very, very heavy. And if it is, know that you're not alone. Know that you're not the only one experiencing these types of energies. Know that you're very, very loved. Okay? So if this resonated with you, please do give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel, turn on that notification bell, and join me every single time I'm live. I'm going to do a few more readings. Catch me back on my channel in a few minutes. Bye, guys.